Now to Eddie Glaude, chair of the Department of African American Studies at Princeton, also an MSNBC contributor, and the former Democratic senator from California, Barbara Boxer, who now hosts the Boxer podcast. You got to step it up, Professor. You need a podcast. You've got 12 books, no podcast.
Yeah, indeed.
Senator, let me start with you. This morning we learned more than 1 million votes have already been cast in Georgia this cycle. That figure almost an even split between absentee and in-person. Back in 2016, total votes cast, 4 million. I know it's early. Given your experience in politics all these years, what do those numbers signal to you?
It signals that people are going to vote, especially the ones who were dared not to vote. You know, when someone says to you, "How dare you vote?" you double down on the dare. And when I look at these lines, my heart swells. I also am concerned, are there enough of these opportunities? But the fact that people, look at this line, this just swells my heart. People understand it. They get their own power. And Donald Trump has scared everybody about mail-in ballots. He's scared them about same-day voting. What's going to happen? You know, is he going to send out his white supremacist friends? And people of goodwill, they are taking this voting so seriously. And it's extremely exciting. Last point. A long time ago, when John Kerry ran, my friend Stephanie Tubbs Jones from Ohio said, voters are waiting online for 12 hours to vote. Will you help me? And we protested the Ohio electoral vote because of those long lines, and people gave up. It was raining. It was awful. It was on the day of Election Day. So since then, people are making plans to vote early. It's great.
Professor, race appears to also be a factor in how long these voters are waiting. I want to read just a part of this report from our digital team. Quote, in 2019, researchers from the University of California, Los Angeles, Carnegie Mellon University, and the University of Chicago found residents of entirely black neighborhoods waited 29% longer to vote and were 74% more likely to spend more than 30 minutes voting. We saw those long lines in Georgia this summer during the primary race. They got a lot of attention. We've seen long lines today in North Carolina as well. How do you think these factors are affecting the turnout that we're seeing now?
Well, they're going to play a role, Craig, I think, in the sense that African Americans particularly know that when they go out to vote, that it's going to take a minute. It's going to take a while. We know, particularly in the governor's race with Stacey Abrams and the like, we know that there were shenanigans at work. So I think part of what we should expect is we're going to expect these long lines, right? We're going to expect shenanigans, as it were. I heard that in the reporting around North Carolina. This is part of the effort on the part of those who know that a high turnout does not necessarily bode well for them, that they want in some ways to suppress the vote. But I think it's clear that not only are folks prepared for this, they're expecting it, and they're actually waiting in the lines to vote. And that's a good sign. But I also want to say this, Craig. We do know that under the context of the coronavirus in this moment, states knew that they would face certain sorts of challenges. Congress bears some responsibility here. They only allocated $400 million to help the states execute the election during this time. The Brennan Center for Justice said that the states needed about $2 billion, to execute this election under the crisis of Corona. The House Democrats proposed $4 billion. This is on McConnell and the Republicans in the Senate, when the Congress only allocated $400 million for this election under these particular conditions, Craig.
Some have also said, you got a lot of folks who look at these long lines and they'll say, oh, it's voter enthusiasm. It's indicative of enthusiasm. A lot of folks look at these long lines and they see voter suppression as well. I mean, you've got to wonder in 2020, how it can be that this is acceptable, that people are forced to wait 6, 7, 8 hours to cast a ballot. Senator, this cycle, Democrats, as you know, they've penciled in several Senate seats as opportunities to flip, including both in Georgia, where you've got incumbent David Perdue up against Democrat Jon Ossoff, and the second in what's known as a jungle primary, Senator Kelly Loeffler up against 20 candidates, including Reverend Raphael Warnock, the pastor of Ebenezer Baptist Church there in Atlanta, Democrat that we've actually had on this program. Polls show that the Reverend is leading. Do you think the Democrats can pick up at least one of those Senate seats in Georgia?
I do believe so. And I have watched this so carefully, and I'm helping Reverend Warnock and Jon Ossoff because, as the professor said, the Senate is where bills go to die. And Mitch McConnell is not interested in folks voting. The Republicans have become the party of voter suppression. And that's why you're right to say, when we look at these lines, on the one hand, we're so thrilled that people are doing it. On the other hand, you want to cry because you say, why should it be so hard? We have gone all over the world. I, as a senator, did to make sure that people had democracies that functioned. This is not a way to function. People are really brave and they're strong. But what about the ones that simply can't do it? So, yeah, I mean, the Senate is where it's at. Last point. You know, the Supreme Court, and we just went through a sham of a hearing, and we saw another seat stolen away from the Democrats on this. The Supreme Court had a terrible ruling on the Voting Rights Act. Something like this would never happen if we still had that section of the Voting Rights Act, where in certain places in our nation, where we've had a history of suppression, if you change the rules, you have to get clearance. So the fight for the Senate, the fight for the Oval, this is the moment. And I'm so proud of people for doing what they have to do to vote.
I wish we had more time, but we're going to have to leave it there. Professor Eddie Glaude, former Senator Barbara Boxer, big thanks to both of you. Enjoy the weekend, by the way. And as was just mentioned, planning your vote would probably be smart. You can check out NBCnews.com/plan your vote to do just that. It's a really useful and cool interactive state-by-state guide that breaks down those key deadlines, also important information as well. It really will help you plan your vote. There's the website, NBCnews.com/plan your vote.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.